Okay, so
Sure.
guys, just a quick introduction of who I am and why are we doing this webinar, so that you can get a quick background about it. First of all, my name is Rashmi and I take care of the community of Designhill. So for those who do not know what Designhill is, it is a global marketplace for graphic designers and business owners to come and work together. If you are an entrepreneur, you can find and you can get any kind of design for your business, ranging from logo design to packaging design to t-shirt design and much more. So there are more than 1 lakh registered designers on the platform from all over the world. You can go to the platform, check the services out, and get to know more about Designhill and the services that we offer. A bit about our speaker for today, Henry. He is having 13 plus years of experience, if I'm not wrong, Henry. Yes, he's having 13 plus years of experience in design.
1-3.
He's successfully running his design agency right now, doing quite good in that field, sort of, and that's why he's here to help you guys find more clients, find right clients, and reach, so that you can reach to a great height through through this webinar. So I'm sure it is going to be amazing, and it is going to be really fruitful for you guys. I have a lot of things to share, but I'll wait for that till the end of the webinar. I want you guys to stay back and let's get started.
I love it. Well, first and foremost, thanks again for having me on. And I just want to speak to the audience and say, if there's any specific questions that you have for me, please feel free to put them in the questions or the chat. And we will tackle as many questions as we possibly can to really help you get unstuck. Because I can promise you, after doing this for 13 years, I've probably been stuck where you are right now more than once. And I want to be able to help you get through that faster than it took me.
Just one more thing that I would like to add over here is that webinar will be there. We will be doing this for 45 minutes to 1 hour. We have got limited time. You can put your questions in the questions tab. We have got around 5 subtopics to cover in this webinar. So feel free to add your questions anytime, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can in this time frame. So Henry, let's get started. And the first top subtopic that we have to cover today is how to attract the right clients and not more clients. That's what our first subtopic is. So it would be great if you can start it out.
Sure. So I think what we need to focus in on first and foremost is who exactly, can you mute yourself? There we go. Beautiful. The one thing that we need to focus in on first and foremost is who exactly do we want to serve? I'll give you a quick example. So one of my Instagram followers has reached out to me recently and said, I'm having difficulties finding the right clients to work with. I onboard a new client and it goes to, the relationship goes to hell in the handbasket pretty quickly because I get uninspired by the work. The client gets upset, and it never ends in a happy way. And as designers and clients, we both deserve great clients, all right? And we both deserve to work with the right fit. So when I started to ask her more questions, like, what are you passionate about? So she's like, I love anything luxury. I love fashion. I love beauty. And I said, have you ever considered working for high-end salons or the beauty industry? And she says, I've done some one-off jobs here and there, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I said, well, why not get more of those clients? And so what I did was I helped her sort of identify that particular niche and what their pains and challenges were. When you as a designer, because we have a creative advantage here as designers, we're able to take our thoughts and make beautiful designs out of them. 98% of the world can't do that. So we have to leverage that. And so what I encouraged her to do was create designs that evoked the emotions of hairstylists, salon owners, people that are in the luxury fashion market, and create designs that are going to resonate with them. And when you could create designs that evoke emotion, so you either make them mad, you make them cry, you make them laugh, you make them question themselves, that's the type of marketing that you're going to have to do for yourself to get in front of the right people. So, Nia has a good question. How do you decide who is the right customer? Well, you have to lay down the right expectations up front and ask them up front, are they willing to obey it? So either say, that's why I'm hiring you. Like, I can't do this stuff, and I need somebody to actually execute this for me. This is your wheelhouse. This is your expertise. I'm here to learn from you. I'm here to let you do what you do. When I hear that, I know I have a great client. When I hear somebody that says, well, I just need somebody to just create a simple logo for me. I don't need all this nonsense. I just want a nice logo. Can you do that for me or not? When I get that attitude, when I get that pressure, when I get that energy, I'm talking about myself here. I know that it's not going to be a good fit. So then I'll ask a question like, if that's all you want, why haven't you gone to Fiverr? Why haven't you gone to 99 Designs? Because they'll spit you something out for a couple $100 and you might be happy with it. And then that's the conversation that I have. So that's how I start to qualify my clients to make sure that we're working with the right people. And we've mastered this. It took me 13 years to get this, guys. This didn't come easy. So I'm trying to help you learn the curve here. But one thing I will tell you is I brought on a lot of clients that weren't the right fits, and it cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of reputation. It cost me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and aggravation and just quality of life. So make sure you're working with the right people before you take on the job, because listen, it's your job. Your life matters just as much as your client's life. They want to solve a problem, and you want to help them solve it.
Yeah, I think
But you got to make sure you're
nice
working with the
input,
right
and
people.
that's how you
Otherwise,
can,
it's not going to be a good fit for either.
get into the thing that this particular client is the right client for me. Also, we have got a lot of questions while the attendees were registering. So one of the questions that I would like to ask you here is that a lot of people want to give a good value proposition to the clients. Now I have a question which goes like, what are some interesting questions that somebody someone should ask the client so that they can develop a good value proposition for them?
Okay, that's a great question, Rishmi. So what I would say is this: start with the why conversation. And I didn't make this up. I got this from a buddy of mine, Jonathan Stark, and he always asks, he starts the conversation with the why conversation. So why do you want to do this? Why do you want a new logo? Why do you want a new website? Why do you want a new brand identity? Okay. And take notes. Make sure you have a notepad here. I always have a notepad on my side here that'll allow me to take notes, because as I'm listening, I want to jot down some really pertinent things that the person's saying. So why do you want to do this? Because 9 times out of 10, guys, they don't know what they want. That's why they're coming to you. So they're going to probably say things that, if you're a good designer and a good marketer, you may pick up on things that, wow, they want a website to generate more sales. Okay. Well, what does their sales process look like? And then they say to you, well, we don't have one. Well, if the website is going to bring in more business and you don't have a sales process, aren't you putting the cart before the horse here? What if we worked on a sales process first and then built your site? Now they're scratching their heads going, Now you might say, well, you just talked yourself out of a sale. Well, what do you think the project was going to be like if you just went ahead and did that project just for the money? They get the website built, and then they come back to you a month later and they say, Henry, you built this awesome website for me, but it doesn't generate any sales. And you say, well, why not? We did everything you told us to do. Well, I don't know, Henry. We're not making any sales with this website, and we spent $25,000 on it. And then you ask, well, what does your sales process look like? And then they don't have one, right? Who looks like the bad guy now? Our goal as entrepreneurs and service providers is to help solve solutions. It may not be that we do that solution, but if you put that person in the right place, who do you think they're going to think of when one of their friends need a website design? Or when they come back and say, now we have our sales process together, now we need a website. Thank you so much, Henry, for letting us know our real issue before we dove deep into site design. Now you become a trusted advisor and you've built years and years of trust. So that's the first question, is why do you want to do this? The next question I would ask is, why do you want to do it now? Why has this come to fruition now? Why are you so eager to get this done now? And then let them speak and take notes. This is going to bring out the urgency in the project. So you'll know exactly why they want to do this. Okay? And then you want to challenge them. Why is that important to you? Why what would you like to see in the next year with this project? You know, if this project is a success, what does the next year look like to you? Right? So ask them why they want to do it now, and then ask them, why did you reach out to me? Why do you want me to do this project? There's a gazillion people that do this. Why me? And then let them sell themselves on you. I'll get things like, well, I've been following you on Instagram for a while. I really love your attitude. I love your energy. It looks like you really know how to do this stuff. I was on your website for a couple hours. I really dove into your videos, and I feel like you can really help me. There's not much selling to do after that, guys, other than to ask them, okay, well, do you want to move forward or not? And then you got to go through your, standard operating procedure to onboard a client. And I hope you guys have that, taking projects. And this is me going back, 10 years, taking project orders through email and
I think that's a really nice and great suggestion for all of the attendees here. Like, it will help you guys understand your clients in a better way and what is their exact requirement, and that's how you will be able to solve their problem, right? So asking the why is very important. Yeah. So Henry, just a follow-up question on that, since you talked about content, and I have a similar question related to that. What should be the content strategy that you suggest should go on social media that can help people find more clients, or the content that could be valuable for the followers?
Okay, so my question to you or the audience would be this. What are the top 3 reasons why someone should follow you? Okay, so I'll give you an example for my page. So if you go to my Instagram account, it says exactly what I do. I help influential people design purpose-driven brands. I'm very clear with what it is that I do. I have a couple line items or bullet points that I let my audience know where I can help them. I can help them monetize their influence. I can help them grow their fan base. And those are the 2 top things that my clients want. They want a larger fan base so that they can become more of an impact and have more impact on more people. And they want to be able to monetize their influence. They want to be able to make money with their authority, their credibility, their experience in that. So your content should be based around my content should be based around those two things. So if I'm putting out content of cute dogs, what does that have to do with growing your fan base or monetizing your influence? Nothing. If I'm taking pictures of cheeseburgers that I'm eating, what does that have to do? How does that provide value to my audience? So what you need to do is you need to figure out the top 3 things on how you serve your clients and the value behind that. So I like to break down benefits and value like this. People buy benefits and they buy value. They don't buy the design. They don't buy the cute logo or the pretty logo or the fancy website. They buy benefits. So the benefit is what's in it for them. What's in it for them? What is a beautiful, highly optimized website going to do for them? And then the value is, why should they care about having a well-designed, highly optimized website or a crisp logo that truly represents the value that that brand delivers? So that is what we really need to focus in on, and that's the content. So when you look at my content, you're going to see some things here. You're going to see a personal piece of content where I'll show a picture of me and my son, or my son and my wife on vacation. But that's used very sparingly. That's not why people are coming to my account. They're coming to my account because they want to do those 2 things that I mentioned before. But I still need to show my personality. Otherwise, people are going to be like, well, who is this guy? Right? You're going to see photos. You're going to see captions, or I should say posts about ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a website building software that we use to build highly optimized sales funnels for people. I come highly recommended in that community. So if I'm not posting content about ClickFunnels and how to use ClickFunnels, then how are people from the ClickFunnels community going to come to me and believe me that I'm the right choice for them? All right. You're going to see posts about just mindset, how to keep a great mindset when you're an entrepreneur. Listen, as entrepreneurs, we're going to get knocked on our ass more times than we're going to succeed. So it's all about getting back up after we get knocked down. So I do a tremendous amount of work on myself when it comes to mindset, because the mind is really going to dictate the outcome of your life and of your business. So if you have crap going into this, you know you're going to get crap going out. So we have to make sure that we have a great mindset. So you're going to get great mindset tips from me. And then you're going to get some real practical things that are going to help you sell. So I want to post about how to convert people from visitors to paying customers. So you'll see a lot of sales advice on there, but not the sales advice that feels scammy and spammy and snaky. It's really, because I hate selling. I don't like to sell. I don't like being sold, but I love to buy, right? And so I want to share with folks how I sell myself and have it not feel salesy. And that's basically just listening more and talking less and being able to really understand the customer and where they're struggling right now. I'll give you a quick example. So I had a client that came to me and they wanted a sales funnel built and designed by the right person. They said, if we could find the right person to do this, I know I'm going to be successful. And he said, I have $2,000. What can you do for me? And I said, I'm sorry, but nothing. Our minimum level of engagement here is $10,000. If that's not within budget, I highly recommend you do 2 things. One, you could go to the ClickFunnels community, and I'm sure someone will take your $2,000 and build you something. I don't know what it's going to come out to be. Or you could do it yourself. And then when you make that money, come back to me and we'll build you the right funnel with the right branding and help you get to where you want to be a hell of a lot faster. And he kind of looked at me and he wasn't sure how to respond because he was so used to being sold. You know what he said to me? He got off the phone with me and he said, you were the first person out of 6 people I've talked to that actually listened to me. Everyone else said, yeah, we could do it. Let me send you a contract. Send us the money and we'll get started tomorrow. And he was like, that didn't feel right to me. So we get off the phone and I said, listen, I wish you the best of luck. He was a Marine, a United States Marine. So I said, you're a Marine. Marines don't lay down. They find a way. And I got off the phone. I got a text message. I have an angel investor that's willing to put up $15,000. Would you be able to help me? I said, I think I can help you with that price point. And so there you go. So I want you to understand that when you position yourself as the trusted advisor instead of the commodity designer, you're going to see a huge difference in the way people respect
I just
you
loved that
and approach
advice.
you.
And one thing for me here would definitely be that what value you are providing to your customers and to your clients, and why like why should they choose you. So that's really nice to know. So Henry, you talked about developing a personality, to gain some sort of clients. You have to have that personality you talked about. And I think somewhere or other, personal branding comes into picture when you talk about that. Am I right? Yeah. So yeah, can you throw some light on that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. However, I see a couple questions here that I think are really good questions. And I think I want to go there and I think I'll answer your question at the same time. So Angela says, I'm working on starting some outreach work. So no clients per se, but I need some collaborators, venues, funding, partners, business advice. Do you have any tips on finding those types of individuals? So here's where you have to give without expecting anything in return. I'll give you another example. So I am breaking into a new market. Okay. I am working now with professional athletes, specifically football, American football players. So the folks, the guys that are playing in the NFL, there's a lot of those guys that aren't branding themselves properly. And eventually they're not going to be in the NFL any longer. And they're going to have blown through all of the money that they made in playing football. So it's my responsibility to help them build a brand outside of the field or off the field so that they can make money and not be so reliant on their NFL paycheck. The problem is I've never worked with a professional athlete before. So I don't have any experience. I don't have any, examples to show them of work that I've done with other athletes. So it's essentially kind of starting over. But the good news is it's not really starting over. I have 13 years experience in selling and branding and business and design. And so it's not starting from over. But what you need to do, and here's what I did. By the grace of God, honest to God, this was like serendipity. I put it out into the world that I wanted to work with pro athletes. I started telling my friends, I started telling my mentors, I started telling my Instagram following. And what happens? I get a guy that used to play for the Green Bay Packers. And he is the salt of the earth. He was the nicest guy on the planet. And I said, you know what? Here's my opportunity. Here's my opportunity.
So the next question that Robert
helps.
and the second guy is asking is about how do I get an investor to support my business? Yeah, that's two question basically. Yeah, so it's about attracting investors. Any advice on that?
Yeah. I'm not an expert in venture capital whatsoever, but I have watched, a ton of angel investors speak at conferences, and I watch a ton of videos of about this stuff because I want to get an understanding of where they're at. What I gather is the investor wants to invest in the closest thing to a sure thing as possible. And they want to be able to recoup their money as quickly as possible. So if you can show proof, if you have a viable business model that showcases how they're going to be able to see their return on investment, that's going to help them tremendously. If you take on more risk than they do, that's another way of attracting people and say, listen, this is what I'm looking for. I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to scrap, but I need a little push. One of the things I learned from Damon John and Mark Cuban and all of those Shark Tank guys, I actually had an opportunity to meet Robert Herjavec at a local event that he came to speak at. And he said, a lot of my business decisions on investing in a brand or business comes down to the person running it. If I feel like they're always going to be with their hand out, like, oh, I need more money, I need more this, I need more that, I need more, I need, I'll never invest in them. But if I see somebody that just will not give up and will not take no as an answer and will not stop until they get what they want in life and out of this business, I'm jumping in the foxhole with them. So it's building those relationships, building those connections, showing them that you're really serious about this and showing them a path to success on what it is that you see in the next 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever. That's going to help the investor see the big picture. And if they like you for you, you're going to get people to give you money. Great question.
I hope this helps, Robert. Okay. So moving on to my question, Henry, which I asked a couple of minutes back, which was about personal branding. And I think this is one of the key takeaways we have also mentioned in the webinar. So can you throw some light on it, that why personal branding is important and how people can, have that to gain advantage of it and probably find more clients?
So let's define what personal branding is first. There's a ton of there's a ton of definitions out there of what personal brands are, but this one comes from this one doesn't come from Marty Neuheimer. This one comes from, I apologize, I forget the person who I read the book of, but he said that personal branding is the intersection between how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. And so there's a gap. When the gap is wide, you have tremendous difficulty connecting with people because they see you as one way, you see yourself as another, and there's a disconnect. But when that gap is very narrow, that means you see yourself the way other people see you. And that's where that electricity and energy connection happen. So what you need to do is you need to go out there and ask your 5 best friends, when I step into the room, what is the feeling that you get? When I step out of the room, or if I'm not there, what is the feeling in the room? This was a very hard question for me to ask my dear friends and clients, and because I didn't want to sound like I was like fishing for compliments. But let me tell you something. The insight I got from the answer to those questions proved to be invaluable to me. And when I have people that reach out to me on Instagram and say, I absolutely love your content, I don't let them off the hook. I ask them, may I ask you why you like it so much? And I typically get a common denominator answer. You're real, you're no bullshit, and your work is really good. Like, you're really good at what you do. And so you have to ask these tough questions, even though it feels weird, like, but that's going to give you the insight, and that's going to bring you closer to the people that you truly want to serve. And so I would take it a step further and ask and go to those people that you really enjoyed working with and ask them those two questions and see what they say, because the value that you think you bring to the table may not be the actual value that they see you bringing to the table. And what do you think is going to weigh more in a buying decision, what you think or what they think? So I hope that helps. So to keep going further down this rabbit hole of personal branding, why is this so important? Well, again, I'm a firm believer that people buy people first, and then they buy the service or the product. What I'm starting to see a lot, even with the big brands here in America, is the CEOs coming out of their dark holes and becoming more present in media and marketing and advertising. I was watching a commercial yesterday for Macy's, and the CEO of Macy's was in the commercial. And I said, wow, look at this. This is the power of personal branding. People are going to watch this commercial. They're going to connect with the CEO's message and vision and mission. And they're going to go to Macy's over Nordstrom. They're going to go to Macy's over JCPenney. Why? Because the CEO of Macy's stuck his neck out and presented himself, where the CEO of JCPenney is still sitting in his corner office. That's the power of personal branding. Yeah, Steve Jobs' approach, 100%, right? People bought Steve. Then they bought into Apple. So I am following that suit. And that's why, I drive my wife crazy, because I'm constantly in the media. But that's what's going to help me sell myself and be able to be the role model for my son that I want to be. So I highly recommend. So, for example, on my Instagram account today at 2 p.m. Eastern, I teamed up with an expert in video, and her and I are going to do a Facebook and Instagram live on how to build the confidence needed to get in front of the camera and to build that connection with your audience. Because at the end of next year, guys, 80% of the content you consume, if not more, is going to be video. So it's probably a good idea to start getting comfortable in front of it. So that's why personal branding is so important. And I tell this to the pro athlete clients that I'm working with now. So my strategy has proven a success, because now I have quite a few pro athlete clients that are working with us now. And one of the things that I tell them is you really gotta treat your fans like family. You have a tremendous amount of influence. There's not one person other than the president that has the amount of influence that you have as a pro athlete. So if you want to build a fan base that will go to war, you have to reach back out. You have to respond to their messages and world. Bring them in, show them. And you will not only become a more valuable athlete, but you'll become a more marketable athlete because now bigger brands will see your following. The teams that you play for will see your social media presence and say to themselves, wow, we got to raise this guy's salary because he's going to bring us more money in for the organization because he is an absolute role model and that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to in the true value they have, get that out to more people that they want to serve. And that's what we do for our clients. That's what we do, and that's how we help. That's
wow.
The value
I think that's
bring.
really great advice, and the video thing that you just mentioned out, guys. Okay, so the next question that I see for you, Henry, is in the questions tab, and he wants to know that do you have an onboarding system in place, and do you recommend any onboarding system for clients?
I highly recommend if you don't have the money to invest in somebody to help you with processes and systems, you take a weekend and really map out how you would like to see the flow go from the minute they get on the phone with you to the minute they accept your proposal to what happens next, until the project is absolutely complete. And so it's a tedious process. It was like those 3 months were like nails to a chalkboard, but it was the best money I've ever spent because now I'm able to do our webinars with you and not worry about
there are people who would like to know your Instagram handle in the chat section.
Sure. So I'll put it again. It's at the brand DR. So it's the brand doctor. And then you could also go to my website, which is, and you'll be able to subscribe to my YouTube channel there and everything as well. So I highly recommend you check out 3 platforms. My Brand Doctor podcast is doing absolutely amazing. We're doing 55,000 downloads a month now, which is growing so rapidly. So you can check out the Brand Doctor podcast on iTunes or on my website. Again, on Instagram, the Brand DR. And then if you just go to YouTube and type in the Brand Doctor, subscribe to my channel. There's over 1,000 videos there that are going to help you build a very profitable and reputable brand.
Guys. He's putting really nice content out there, and the content is really valuable for you guys. So you should definitely follow him. Okay, so before we wrap up this session, I would like to touch upon 2 things, Henry, which we have also mentioned in the webinar agenda, right? And one thing we have not touched about so far is about what the critical mindset that people should shift so that they can reach to that 7+ figure revenue. So what is your suggestion on that?
So I learned this the hard way. So when I first started making some serious money with my design freelancing business about 13 years ago, it was all about me. I cared too much about myself and not about my clients. And it wasn't about what I could do for them. It's how much money they could give me. And I was a giver. I was a taker, not a giver. I just took as much as I could without giving anything in return. That's not going to help you as an entrepreneur. And I almost lost my business twice because of that mindset and attitude. So now my attitude and my mindset is, how can I help you first? Whether you pay me or I'm able to fix this problem for you or not, but how can I serve you first? And that has helped me break through the 7-figure mark. And that's how I was able to get that award. That award right there is an award that you get from the ClickFunnels company, when you have a marketing funnel that has generated over $1 million. And we did $1.3 million last year with one marketing strategy, one marketing funnel. And I'm super proud of that. But I wouldn't have been able to achieve that if I kept thinking about myself all the time and not giving.
The focus should be on giving rather than taking, right? Got it.
Solve bigger
Got it.
problems,
Okay.
they'll pay a bigger paycheck.
Also, one more question that I would like to touch upon. Reason being, this question was very frequently asked in the registration form, and I'm sure that it is going to be really helpful for the attendees also. So not everyone is, having their own design agency or any like a business, right? Most of them must be freelancing, but would like to start their own business at a point of time. So before starting any business, what are the key things that one should sort of focus on or keep in mind so that they can have a good experience or a successful journey?
That's a great question. So here it is, right here. Who are you? Who are you? You got to answer these questions. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you do it different? And why should they care about what it is that you do? If you can answer those questions, you will start to get the clarity and focus you need to build a very solid business.
Okay. Yeah. So I think these to answer these questions is the must have to sort of before launching or before starting any business, you have to answer these 5 questions so that you are clear about what are you going to do, what are you going to offer, what value you are going to provide to your clients, and probably can have a good start. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Too many people go jumping into the ocean without learning how to swim first. And that's the problem. That's the problem. So again, Rashmi, I so appreciate you having me on. It's getting a little late here. I got to get going, but I really appreciate all your audience questions and everybody who watched to the end. I hope that I made an impact on you guys in the future, and don't be shy. I respond to all of my DMs on Instagram. If you ever have any questions or anything like that,
yeah, it was great having you, Henry. I just loved your energy and all the value that you have provided in this webinar today. I just loved that. I'm sure that the attendees would have taken a lot from this webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar, and I would like to thank all the attendees as well for taking out your time and joining us for this webinar. Just the last thing I would like to share with you, which is the website of Designhill, for those who would like to visit the website and want to understand the services that we offer. Also, one surprise that I was mentioning at the start of the webinar, which is we have got a discount coupon code for those who are entrepreneurs or who are looking for any kind of design services for your business. So you can use this code called WebHen10 and get 10% discount on all your graphic design from Designhill.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Rashmi, thanks again for having me. Thank you. Thank your team behind the scenes.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Thank you so much, Henry.
I love what you're
doing.
And
guys, let us also know. You will also receive a
feedback
work. Form post this webinar. Do let us know your feedback, and do let us know the few suggestions for future topics so that we can come up with webinars like this. Thank you so much, Henry, for taking out your time. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.